All right, good morning, everyone. Wanted to talk to you rideshare drivers out there that may be experiencing some what I would call rideshare driver blues, because something currently is happening to me that is not fun. I'm quite upset about it, but you know what? I am not going to let it destroy my entire day. So, um, first of all, I want to play a song for you guys, okay? This is from another rideshare driver that has a channel, and his channel just is for rideshare drivers. And of course, passengers, passengers come on there too and get involved in his live stream. And yeah, so it's really informative to people. But he came up with this little tune, and my husband played it for me this morning, and I just cracked up because it's exactly how I'm feeling this morning. Now, even though in the lyrics, what he's talking about in the lyrics is not necessarily what I'm currently going through, I thought it would be kind of nice to play this song, because while this isn't my particular incident, I know exactly what he's talking about. So let me go ahead and I'll turn my tablet around so you can see. Okay, this is the video is called Uber Driver Rap the Rideshare Blues. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and play this for you guys now. Enjoy. And you'll understand. Those of you that are drivers, you're gonna understand exactly what we're talking about here, okay?
Hey everybody, this is Dustin is driving. This one goes out to all those newbies out there that might get discouraged, get the rideshare blues. Well, this happens to me each and every morning. Listen up. I woke up this morning 5:15. I thought it was a good idea. I'd just get up and drive. Now it's time to turn my app on. I see that surge, but who knows for how long. Got a ping and I'm on my way. 15 minutes, man, I hope this ride pays. I pull up at the spot. Can't find my rider and I follow the dot. 2 minutes later, a call comes in. It's my rider and he's waiting for his friend. He says, hey, can you wait just 5? That's a negative ghost ride. I gotta cancel and drive. He yells, I'm gonna report you. I say, good luck and take the Smackovich too. Smackovich responsibly. Peace out.
Okay, so I could totally relate to that, because what time did I get up this morning to drive? I got up this morning to drive for Uber and Lyft at 3:30 this morning, because it always takes me a good couple of hours to wake up, get dressed, visit with my husband, find out how his night of driving went, because I drive the daytime, he drives the nighttime. So, and I got to turn my car on because it's already starting to get a little warm in here. I got to turn the air conditioning on. So, first thing that I do when I wake up is I go to my desk, to my computer, and I quickly check emails, just kind of catch up with some brothers and sisters in the Lord, if anybody's messaged me or sent me emails and stuff. Well, lo and behold, I had a message from Uber this morning that one of my riders reported that I was driving under the influence. And there's like a whole long story with this. and I'm going to tell you the story here in a minute from start to finish. And so, I'm like, okay, I can't believe this. It's like if they hadn't temporarily suspended me, I'd be laughing, because people that know me, they know I don't do drugs and I don't drink. Okay, so this is just like so far in left field. But for Uber's side, they have to take every report like this seriously. And when I think about it, I would want them taking this seriously, especially if I was a passenger and I was riding, and it did look like the driver was under the influence of like alcohol and drugs or something. I would be reporting that too. So I mean, I'm not mad at Uber for this investigation that they have to do. I'm certainly not upset with them. They're doing their job, okay? But let me back up 2 days ago to something that happened to me. I was in an Uber fare. I had passengers that I had picked up, and they were on their way to a concert. And so I'm following the navigation, and I'm just like right there where I'm supposed to be. But there was like bumper to bumper traffic, because it was like some famous country western singer that was coming to Cal Expo. And I had never been there before, so I wasn't real sure where the roundabout is, where the Uber and Lyft and taxis go to drop off passengers and pick people up. So that part I was not familiar with. Although later that night, my husband and I did go back to Cal Expo so that I would understand where it is that I pick up the drivers or the passengers. And then we also went out to the airport so that both of us would understand, him where the waiting lot is, and also the two pickup locations for Terminal A and Terminal B. So we got all of that taken care of. Well, with the accident, what happened was I'm on Exposition Boulevard. And the navigation was telling me I'm supposed to turn into like this driveway to like where their parking lots were to drop the passenger off. Well, it was like roadblocked. It was like completely closed. And then I noticed there were cars coming like back out. But I saw that, and I'm thinking in my mind, well, how did they get in there? Because the road's blocked off, and it showed the Uber and Lyft signs. And so I'm like, well, how did they get in there? So for that split second that, my mind is thinking this, and I'm turning my head and I'm looking at this, trying to figure, okay, where am I going to drop off my passengers? I rear-ended the car in front of me. Now, understand, it was bumper to bumper traffic, and I was only going like at the most 5 miles per hour. But I still, hit the car in front of me. I could not brake fast enough. And so, my two passengers were in the back, double checked, they weren't hurt. I wasn't hurt. The other driver and his passenger were not hurt. We moved over to the far right-hand side of the road. I put my emergency blinkers on, and I got out of the car, and the driver of the other car did ask, if everyone was okay, and yes, everyone is fine. And so my passengers went ahead and said, that they could just walk from there, which it really wasn't that far. And so I hurried and completed the trip so that, all of that as far as, Uber side is done. And then, I explained to the driver of the other car what happened, that I'm an Uber driver, that these are my passengers. And for a split second, I'm just looking to see, okay, where am I going to drop these passengers off? And that's when I hit the back of his car. And so I got my driver's license out. I gave my driver's license to the driver. He took a picture of it, and I gave my insurance, because from my understanding, when you're on the job, with Uber and probably Lyft too, if you're involved in any kind of an accident, then Uber or Lyft's insurance will take over, which, I mean, I definitely was on the job with this. And so I explained that to the other driver. But I went ahead and I gave my insurance, and I gave my driver's license. I also gave my phone number, which he then called my phone number, and so my phone rang, and that was just to confirm that I didn't give him, I guess I didn't give him some bogus phone number or something like that. And so then that recorded, his phone number into my phone's history. And all the while, just the way he was talking to me, I was totally intimidated. And I'm usually not intimidated by people, but I was intimidated by him. And I mean, it was kind of like this whole nerve-wracking situation, because here I am on the job. I'm like logged on to the Uber app. I have passengers, and I mean, it was a bad thing all the way around. And so after he gets done taking my information, and there really wasn't hardly any damage to my car. There's like this, like maybe this, it's kind of like round, where my husband said it looked like where I hit the back of his bumper was like where the tow hook pops out, or something like that. And I don't know anything about cars, so he knows what he's talking about. So it looks like it might have dislodged this tow hook just a little bit, and he made it out to seem like there was way more damage than there really was. And of course, we have a little bit of damage on our front bumper. That was like long before we even started driving for Uber and Lyft. And so, the damage that you see there, that was already there. So, just this little round looking area in the bumper, that's all that this little accident did. Okay. And so, I got out of traffic, oh, well, we'll back up. It's like everything was kind of like happening so fast, and I'm feeling, intimidated. And then I remember, Wendy, you got to get his information. And so I asked him for his information, and he didn't want to give it to me. He's like, well, it was like, I don't know why you need it. You're the one that hit me. And I said, I have to give it to Uber because their insurance is the one that is going to take care of the claim. And so he then proceeds to ask his passenger if she has the information, because he did tell me that it was a car rental. And so the thing that I was thinking in my mind is, okay, maybe the car rental is in her name. Well, he held out his driver's license, and I took a picture with my phone, and then I also took a picture of the back of his car. Well, through all of that, he still did not give me his car insurance information. And here in California, it's against the law. You are not to drive a car without insurance, okay? And so he went ahead and said, he was on the way to the concert, and that he would, report to his insurance and everything after the concert was over. So he went on, and I went on. I got out of traffic. I pulled over to a parking lot, got out and took pictures of all four sides of my car. But then I waited until I got home to talk to my husband and let him know, what had happened. And so then, everything was okay that night. I didn't get to bed until kind of late, because I had to go online through Uber and fill out the accident report, and I had to submit pictures and everything. And the passenger did notify Uber that I'd been in a minor accident, and so for a few hours they did deactivate me, just so they could verify that my car isn't like totaled and that it's safe to drive. And once they got the pictures, they saw that just very, very minor, damage to the car. And so they reinstated me right away. Well, then yesterday comes around, I get up and head out the door, and I am busy. I am slammed all day. Just with Uber alone, I did 17 fares, and to some people that may not seem like a lot, but if you're a driver, that's a lot of fares. That's a lot of, running back and forth, picking people up, dropping people off. And I had a few with Lyft yesterday either as well. Well, he called me 3 times yesterday, and I did not take the call because I was just determined in my mind, I am not talking to him without my husband present. And I thought, this can wait. So I finished out my day. Things were pretty uneventful. It was busy. It was fast paced. But it was a good day yesterday. And then I went out with my 2 youngest sons, Jordan and Jonathan. We went to an ice cream place. I did a little video showing you this like really big sundae. It was like 9 scoops of ice cream that the 3 of us had to try to eat. Well, of course, we couldn't eat it all. We brought the leftovers home. And while I was out, while I was gone with my sons doing, the whole Mother's Day thing, my husband, because, this guy was like intimidating, and because of the messages that he left, they were like, it was almost threatening. The first message that I got in the morning was basically, hi, this is so-and-so, the guy that you were in the accident with, and I have a couple questions for you, give me a call when you can. Well, I didn't call back, and then probably about 4 hours later, he calls back again, a little bit more intense in the sound of his voice, like irritation, saying, need you to call. I have some, some questions I want to ask you. Well, then it was 6 o'clock by the time I got home. He called just right before I got home. And this time he's being like threatening. He tells me, obviously I'm avoiding him, which I really wasn't. I was waiting until I got home and my husband could call him and talk to him about this. And he's like, I was going to like offer you a deal or something like that, but now that's off the table. Something about like good luck with your life or something like that. And so that's when my husband's like, okay, no, this isn't right. He's harassing you. So he texted him, and my husband wasn't mean or anything. He just was to the point. Gave his name. I'm Wendy's husband. Stop harassing her. It's Mother's Day. She is out with the kids. We can't do anything as far as insurance until Monday. The insurance is going to take care of this. We're not paying you cash because, see, what we thought is he's trying to extort us for money because more than likely he doesn't have insurance. And he's just wanting us to pay him however much, and then we don't even have to report to the insurance. Well, that wouldn't have worked anyways because it all has to go through Uber because I was on the job driving for Uber. So he just said, if you continue to harass us, we are going to call law enforcement. Well, then he texts my husband back and says, your wife was driving under the influence. This should be fun. Call law enforcement. And my husband's like, okay, you got it. And so then me and my husband, we were outside on the porch about an hour and a half later. This was about 9 p.m. last night because my husband's getting ready. He's getting ready to go to work, drive the night shift. So we were outside talking before he went on shift. And we see a car drive down our street, driving really, really slow. And it was just starting to get dark. So, I mean, there were things that we couldn't see real clear. But we could clearly see the driver turning his head like this, looking directly at our front door. And we're like, I think that's the driver. I think that's the guy that I hit. So he's driving, really, really, because we live on a corner lot and there's a stop sign right at the end of our street. And so, he's cranking his head back, looking at our house. And then my husband gets up and he starts walking down the driveway to our iron gate at our house. And then the guy speeds off, you could hear the exhaust and he's just, vroom, and we're like, I think that was, I think that was him, because it was the same color of the car. And my husband, looking up some things online, because we knew what the make and model of the car was, he listened to some YouTube videos of what that car's exhaust sounds like. And my husband's a mechanic and he knows his cars, and he's like, yep, that was him. He's driving by. And we almost called the police last night, but I was so tired, and I'm like, I just want to go to bed. Let's wait and see. Maybe there'll be no more incidents. Well, then I wake up this morning and I have that email from Uber saying that that's why I went like this, one of my riders reported me for driving under the influence. And I'm like, okay, I seriously doubt a real legitimate passenger of mine has done this. It's like too much of a coincidence not to be a coincidence. He just texted my husband last night that your wife was driving under the influence, and of course police wasn't called to the scene. We hadn't called the police at that point. And so I wrote out all the information and sent it to Uber, and they thanked me and said, that we still have to go through this process, and we'll let you know just as soon as, things are concluded and when you're able to drive. Well, then me and my husband both wrote out our statements, from my husband, what he witnessed and experienced, and then, everything that I went through with this guy, starting from the accident on Saturday afternoon up to now. And so then I called the police department, because we're like, we need to get a restraining order. This is not right. He should not be driving by our house. And police officer called me back. I explained everything, everything that happened with the accident, to the text messages, and we think he's driving by the house. And he gave us the incident report, basically said, that you can go down and get a restraining order, because technically it's not against the law to drive on a public street. But if, he's like driving by your house, that's like harassment. He can't do that. A restraining order would definitely prevent him from doing that. He could go to jail. And so took down the incident report number, the officer's name. And so then I gave that additional information to Uber. And so they've noted my account that I believe that this is a false report. It's like basically bearing false witness against me. And, I was thinking about this. I mean, how crummy to do this to a woman. I mean, he already intimidated me Saturday afternoon. And why is it? Is because my husband called him out and said, we are not paying you a dime. You are trying to extort us for money. This is going to go by the book. This is going to go through the insurance companies. They will handle this, and we will be filing everything on Monday when they are open, which we've done all of that. I mean, everything is completely done as far as the insurance company is concerned. And so probably because, in my mind, I'm thinking because he did not have insurance, he was not supposed to be on the road driving. More than likely, I mean, I don't know how the insurance companies deal with situations like this, but he may not get paid anything for any kind of repair if he doesn't have insurance, because, well, they say that is he the one at fault? I mean, yes, I technically ran into the back of him, but if he was abiding by the law like he should have been, not driving a car without insurance, it probably would have all been avoided. I don't know. But that's why we think, he's just mad because he's not going to be able to scam us out of money. And so then the only thing he could retort was, your wife was driving under the influence. And number one, he has no proof of this. There was nothing that would indicate I was driving under the influence. Nothing whatsoever. No police came out. No report was filed. There's nothing. It's basically, his word against mine. Uber can certainly contact any of my past passengers and ask, did it appear that, she was driving under the influence? Obviously, they will say no. There was none of that. It didn't appear to be anything like that. So, don't know how long I will not be able to drive for Uber. Today, I'm driving just for Lyft, and I did that for over 2 months before I added Uber. So however long this takes is how long it takes. And that's what I'll do. I will just drive for Lyft this week until this gets resolved. But let me play this song again for you guys, because anyone that got in late, there's a channel that just predominantly does videos for other rideshare drivers, Uber, Lyft, and some of the others. And he just recently did like this little rap song for rideshare drivers. So let me play that for you again, because it's really funny, and I can relate. I can relate to waking up early, deciding I'm going to go drive, and not being able to find my passenger, and having to cancel the ride. Okay, so here we go. It's called Uber Driver Rap, the Rideshare Blues.
Hey everybody, this is Dustin is Driving. This one goes out to all those newbies out there that might get discouraged, get the rideshare blues. Well, this happens to me each and every morning. Listen up. I woke up this morning 5:15. I thought it was a good idea. I just get up and drive. Now it's time to turn my app on. I see that surge, but who knows for how long. Got a ping and I'm on my way. 15 minutes, man, I hope this ride pays. I pull up at the spot. Can't find my rider and I follow the dot. 2 minutes later, a call comes in. It's my rider and he's waiting for his friend. He says, hey, can you wait just 5? That's a negative ghost ride. I gotta cancel and drive. He yells, I'm gonna report you. I say, good luck and take the Smackovich too. Smackovich responsibly.
Okay, so I mean that's funny. That's funny because it's absolutely true. Everything he said is 100% true. It's 100% true. And you drivers out there, it's true. So, support his channel. His channel is Dustin is Driving. So, I'm going to go ahead and end because it's late. It's like I missed the morning rush, even though I woke up at 3:30 this morning to get ready for work. I've missed the morning rush, so I'm going to just go drive Lyft until I find out from Uber if I'm permanently suspended and they've deemed me driving under the influence, which I've never drove under the influence. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. So, all right, guys, be safe out there. Those of you drivers, be safe. Try not to get